Hi, welcome back to my series on Transport Fever 2. We are down here at Fordwich Cargo, which we worked on last episode to fully signal this entire line. Two different speed trains on the line. If you missed last episode, we have a coal train which is just left ahead of us, and we are a 160-kilometre fast train carrying steel. There's also plastics and some goods on this line as well. We have half signaled this line, so instead of signaling every length of 400-meter train, we actually have the signaling at around about every 200 meters. And even shorter here at the exit, allowing the trains to leave this platform right behind each other. And I have watched it for a little while since last episode, and you can see here we've got some stacking. And what I've noticed is sometimes the coal trains, when they pull in, oh, by the way, the stone train coming past us is now isolated off on its own line there. It does not join this upward line here to come back. It's just one train on its own line, so it it doesn't need to. It was making these trains uh, every couple of cycles they would stack like they are now. They're not stacking because they get stuck behind the coal train here because the coal train's empty and it just flies up to here and it's about to do its pickup. But every now and then the coal builds up and the coal train pulls in and fills up instantly. So if it fills up instantly, it pulls out almost straight away, and these trains can get stuck behind it, or one train will get through like it is now, and the others then stack behind it. And sometimes I've also noticed that if they stack behind it, they actually come to a full stop at this signal here. So if they get unlucky, and we discussed this last episode, they can get stuck here. And this coal train is waiting here, so it didn't have like a full load of coal ready to go. So, when it has to wait, there's not an issue here. But when it's a straight in and straight out, every now and then that happens, we do have a little bit of an issue. And I think I'll just, oh, we've just crossed into January 1 and we've got a new engine and a new passenger car. But I was thinking a small improvement on the line might be a very tight set of signals here. So the coal train has signal one to exit the platform, signal two to join the main line. And this one is not for what's ahead, but this one is like a cutoff for what's behind. So signaling, I didn't mention this last episode, but signaling is used looking forward coming into a station to make a decision on what line it will take coming into a platform. That's the only time it really is makes a decision. A signal helps to make a decision. So for example, when this used to be a crossover here and it no longer is, which suggests to me that this signal on a single line, single train is not required. But let me pause it for a second because this signal is a decision-making signal. Unlike many other signals that are on the game, if I select the actual train line here, which is the green line, you can see there's an arrow above this signal. And that means that this signal is a forward-looking decision-making signal. It will make the decision whether it pulls into the station or not. Now, there isn't a second decision to make anymore. We took it off this this platform here so that it didn't stop at either one anymore. It only goes into the station onto the side track. But even still, it even though there's only one decision, it is a decision-making signal, this one. But most signals are really just for the trains to look a zone ahead, and it really looks 2 zones ahead, I've noticed. If if there is a train in this zone, and there is, it's a red signal, and that means it's a stop. And by me putting, that's very convenient that it's, I probably should have paused it a little tiny bit later. But once this coal train crosses over into this signal, into that zone, sorry, I should call it a zone, this zone here will become a green zone. And there are 2 parts to whether it's a full green zone, a full speed green zone, or a slow down green zone. Now, if there is a train in the zone directly ahead of it, which is this zone that's here up to this point here, and there is a train in that zone, then this signal becomes not a fast straight through signal. It ends up being like a slow down signal. Train ahead, slow down, ready for a stop at the next one. Because the next signal is a stop signal. I mean, when there's a train in this zone, this is a stop signal. And if if it is a stop signal based on a train being in it, this is still green, by the way. This is now a green signal, but I call this a green slow signal instead of a green fast signal. Now, without that without that signal that I just put in, then it would look ahead to this one. Now, it would have to cross all the way to here for the station signal to be a green. So it'd have to get to here previously before putting this signal in. And without the signal I just put in, this signal would have been red when he was coming up to it. And I think in most cases it wasn't a full stop, but it was almost. It was like drop all the way down to like 20. And it was really just a really slow roll through signal without the signal ahead of us. Now I'll just, I had no idea that this was going to work so perfectly. Actually, I would like to say that this was totally planned, but well, I should say I suspected that it was about to happen with the stacking, with the trains right up behind each other. But one train got through, remember, and this is the second train. So quite often with the second train, this is what happens. Now, we can look at his speed. He is going flat out. When he reached this signal, the signal before him said, go fast, mate. You're good. Let's watch what happens here. I think he's going to dramatically slow down. Watch. He's coming up on a green go slow. Look, he's already slowing down from 115 all the way down to 60, 50, 40. Okay, so this is as extreme as it gets. This is as close as this train can physically be to the train ahead. He is one full signal behind. And I shouldn't say one full signal. That's not a 400-meter signal. That's a half signal. That's only 200 meters. If you look at the length of the train, that's the length of the train. This one here is a little bit wider because we open up our speed a little bit usually. And so these ones in the center here are a little bit longer than 200. But this is fairly tight down here. So he's going to roll through here at 40, even though he's got a green light, because it's looking ahead and saying, no, there's a train in that zone. Now, when he comes up on this one now, he's dropped so far back that he's now picking up speed again, because this signal here is going, yeah, it's a slowdown signal, mate, but, you know, you're good at 65. You can keep going. And now he's more than a full signal away. Look, so he's allowed to speed up. He's going to speed up along here, and he'll probably catch him by the time he gets to the station to do his drop. Because they both pull into the same station, just different platforms. So I think that signal, well, I think it has improved it 100%. I suspected it would, because this train would have previously come to a full stop, and sometimes it would just crawl through about 20, but now he's crawling through at, like, worst case scenario 40, 50, and it might even be better than that in some cases, where he might just do a bit more of a slowdown instead of a creepy crawly through there. But that seems to work a lot better. Now, there's a second problem. Now, if he's back, but if he doesn't get that slowdown, he basically catches a coal train almost every single time by the time he gets up here. And this is not a half. This is a full 400 meter signal through the station here, because I can't put, and so he's come through here and I didn't notice the speed, but he's still accelerating through here because he was back far enough. But if he didn't have that slowdown earlier, he gets a pretty serious slowdown at this point when he comes through the station. And I think I can improve that as well. And he's going to run perfectly straight into his drop now. But once he clears here, this is the only point on the entire line that is not half signaled. And so it can be a choke point if the fast train is coming right up behind, catching up on the... We do have a train coming out of here. Now, it never affects the trains coming out. They have enough separation to negotiate this 400 meter without any issues whatsoever. But the coming in, I did notice every now and then there was that crawl through here that we had down at the coal station. So I think I can make another improvement here. Now, the only way to do that is to find the middle. Well, we're going to get some pretty serious lag here, aren't we? But that is the middle. And now I've got the piece of track that I want. Now I've got to find the line, and it's the two centers here. And so what I'm going to do is delete, bulldoze both of those, and we're going to jump out and select regular track, no catenary because we just started our game session. And we're going to fill this in with regular track instead of station track, which will give me the ability to signal here now. And I could just put it in the middle of that track, but let's do it the way I like to do it, and that's middle. And now we can put some signals. I could have just like ran along and I can see where the signal can go. And on this side, can go here. So we've just made this entire line now half signaling at a minimum, basically quarter signaling in and out of the station. Look at this. we saw this last episode. He's going to leave now, but that's enough of a gap. You wouldn't think so, but that is actually, even though he's a faster train than the coal train, he gets he gets a better run through. He's got a better run up the coal train, and so he's already got a head start. You know, by the time he gets to the station, he's already doing 75. And look, he's already got a nice jump ahead, more than one. Is it going to be two? It is two. He's two full signals away by the time this guy hits the signal. So he's not getting a green slow, he's getting a green fast. And so he's good to go all the way up to 75 into the station, just like the coal train did. And I think this signal in the middle here will help trains coming in when you have a coal train coming through with a fast train behind it, coal train coming through, no fast train behind it. No, we got good separation there. We got a little bit of stacking still going down this end. Coal train coming out, fast train coming in. But I think that's it's only a small difference, right? You wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, but we've got quarter signaling, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 through through half signaling here. You can see the half and then the quarter. I'll put a quarter in here. I did have a quarter here, right? But yeah, I think that's just it's a small difference. I know. Seems like you're really getting into the detail now. Okay, since last episode, I've worked on a new upgrade. Now, we had a bit of a mess here on these two lines here. One of them stops here from Alsager, the orange, and the yellow is the infamous Alsager oil train, which runs actually all the way through. And there's a passing lane here just in case it ever needs it. And you can see it take that passing lane. But it basically is just a 400-meter passing lane there. And then it switches back to single because it used to do weird stuff. It used to come in and out on the other side. It used to come in on the right-hand side and out on the left. But you also have a train terminating here on the right. And then one of them has to jump across, like one stays to the left down here, and one of them had to jump across to the right. And I had this whole complex of weird switches here that were strange crossovers. But now I have changed this so that it's beautifully simplified. And to get both of these lines to just be just totally independent of each other and have a really smooth transition through the station and their pickups without interrupting each other. I've made this adjustment, which is, I think this used to be like 5 lines, because the 6th line, the grain used to stop here. And so basically what I've had to do is put a whole nother line in through here, because there's now 7 lines at this point, which meant I had to reduce the station size down a little bit to squeeze the extra line in to push this whole station back just 1 line. And then the 5 lines becomes, well, yeah, it's 4 plus the 1 for the coal, sorry, for the grain. And then the grain used to switch on to the main line here, onto the 4, but now I've made it 6. So now the grain line does not interfere with the goods line. And the oil line does not interfere. Like, they all used to bump into each other on a 4 track. with 3 lines on the 4 track. Um, Now it's 6 track, and instead of them sharing a line on this side and sharing a line on this side, I've given them an extra line for the pickup of the crude and an extra line basically for a pickup of the grain. Yeah, so the grain is going to pick up here and not interfere with anyone. Well, mind you, he didn't interfere with anyone on the stop before. It was this line here used to share, and the weird crossovers were because these two were not in the same direction. So I basically had to move the orange basically had to be reversed. Now the oil comes in here and terminates, and it used to back in the day it used to be on a middle platform here. The the crude used to come in here and deliver, and the oil used to come out on a separate train. I know, sounds crazy, but back in the early days, it was separate. There was huge volume going through here with much smaller trains, and then the 4 track runs all the way through and neatly down on its own line, grain dropping off for the food factory, and this is our steel coming in, steel and tools coming in, and goods, not goods. It is a goods train coming back out, but a food and machine parts, which are the 2 factories that are here, coming back out. Now, so with the upgrade of the line, I upgraded the engine, I upgraded the cars, and with such a significant, this used to be pretty quiet down here, but I've made a significant change improving the line. We have now a build-up of over 250 of boats, so like, yeah, there's almost like 500-600 goods there. With the upgrade on the line, I got a new engine just recently, and I can show you that. Well, the grain train got an upgrade with the better gondolas, and it's got more capacity than what it can handle. The oil train is still the same, hasn't changed, but here's our new train, and we got this engine maybe at the end of last episode, maybe right at the end, or during the episode. Maybe it came up and I didn't actually mention it. I can't really remember now. Could have been in a section I might have edited out even, because I did have to cut that video down a bit. It's a 160 kilometer an hour engine, but it's basically an upgrade to the GE C40 that we've been using for our gondola trains. But instead of being 120 k's, it's 160, and you know that the gondola trains are 4,000 horsepower, and this is more than 5,000 horsepower. So it's going to replace our city delivery lines, our city transfer lines, and not necessarily our raw materials lines. I think we'll keep the GE C40s as they are for right now. But I didn't even know this train existed. I'm not sure I ever played this deep into the timeline where I've ever got this train before. I know that I got the other one, the other 160 that we have been using, the Series 246. I know we got that, and I know that I've had the 160 kilometer cars before, but I don't remember this engine. So this was kind of a surprise to me. There used to be 4 BR218s that we used for all of our city deliveries. There used to be 4 of those trains on this line, but with the trucks bringing in extra steel here, which I showed you not long ago, that's a bit of a shortcut through here that we've got these B doubles running steel. extra steel across to the machine parts here. This train still delivers steel, but nowhere near as much as what it was previously. But now I've taken a couple of trains off the line. I think it's down to two. I think when I put the steel trucks in, I took a train off the line. And then when I did this upgrade, I took another one off the line. And now we just have two trains on it. But that's probably, I'll probably cut it down too much because of yeah, we've got more than 250 of each good sitting on that platform. So I don't think I had the balance right on these trains either. They're not carrying a full load of steel out every time. Let's have a look. Yeah, look, see, sometimes they're carrying like a half load of steel, maybe 60, 70, like this guy is. And then they're not using the flat cars on the way back at all. So as you can see, on the way back, the flat cars are empty. So I think I can upgrade this train to be a little bit better. So let me pause it here for a sec. And let's take a look at it. It's 9 flat cars and 7 goods. Well, I've obviously got that around the wrong way. It should be like 7 flat cars and 9 goods, which is what? 16 cars. That number doesn't, that number does not sit right with me. That is my affliction taking hold, and it's saying, I don't like that, Sims. Okay, so this is the GEP 42, 160 kilometers. Oh, it's not 5,000 horsepower, it's 4,300 horsepower. Yeah, but it basically is an upgrade on the GEC 40. Higher speed, a little bit more horsepower. But we're using them to replace the BR218s. So the BR218s are like our standard delivery train for goods for between cities. And when we want the extra speed, we've been using the 246s, which we got recently, not long ago, year 2000, right? So for a little while now, we've been sort of playing with these on the gondola trains for the really long distance ones, and I've also been adding these as to replace the 218s, and they got a little bit extra more speed. The 218 does 140. This does 160, and the 218 has 2,500. This has 2.7. So this was a little bit of an upgrade on what we were using before, and now this is an upgrade on that for sure as well, on both. But I think I'll primarily use these as now as my city delivery trains. And we need to adjust this. All right, so what if we get rid of the flat cars? What is it? 16 cars. All right. How do you want to do this, Sims? You want to do 1, 2, 3. If you do 5 on each end, go blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What if we go 6 and 10? Now that's a not much nicer. And then 5 on each end is 6 and 10. Oh, look at that. See, that just works for me. 100% works for me. Color is that. Get rid of it. Put it in. Flip it. We've got a train. We have a 400 meter train. Can only carry 320. We are so used to using those, you know, versatile wagons and flat cars that I can carry anything on, which actually gives me a higher capacity using them. But they're so slow. They're 100 kilometers an hour. Look, I just can't use them anymore. The wagons are okay to use. Oh, did we lose the wagons? Oh my God, where are they gone? What am I looking at here? The wagons are gone out of the game. The wagons used to sit here with the state cars. The state cars can only do 100. The wagons could do 120, and they had really good capacity because they were really small. And we don't have them anymore. So, well, I can't add those wagons to a train, but I could still run them, and I could duplicate a train to get those wagons. But I wouldn't be able to edit any train with those wagons, would I? There would be no editing involved with those wagons anymore. All right, so it's good we're moving on to these faster ones anyway. That's 5. Okay. And with two of them, 8,600 horsepower. With with two BR218s, we had what? 4, 5. We had 5,000, and we had 6,000 with the 246s. So this is a huge improvement with high speed and 8,600. Okay, shut up, Sims, and buy it. I'm going to do the same with this one, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, we are back with our new trains. So it has 5 cars on the front, box cars, wagons, 5 cars on the back, and 6 cars in the middle, making a 16 car train. And speed coming into the station, almost 160, just slowing down now. It was almost 160. That's unusual that it wasn't doing 160. I would have expected that it was. Maybe it had started to slow its way down just beforehand, but it'll be picking up a little bit more now. What did we have? We had 7 box cars before, and now we have 10, 5 and 5. So it might at least hold it at maybe that 250 mark, but I think it'll start bringing it down maybe just slowly. Yeah, look at that. Okay, that is going to work 100%. That it might not be overnight, but it will keep that in check at least now with that improvement. And the grain, I probably have too much capacity on the grain, and because of that, they're probably sitting around for a while as well. They could be shorter trains, but they're not really making. I always struggle with my grain lines. So, and then the oil line, I could make this an upgraded fast train, but this train used to lose, if you remember, way back. It used to lose me like $6 million a month, $6 million a quarter. And these days it actually makes money. So, well, we've got a good amount of grain there. Maybe that train fills up. That should mean that this whole area runs like endgame now. Like I'm improving my lines and my signaling, and these are like endgame trains now. I know that the platforms really aren't going to change anymore. I know that I wasn't expecting my engines to change, by the way. I was going to upgrade basically the 218s to the 246s across the map, as I did, down south just recently, where I made the steel train with the 246 and the plastic train with the 246. So that was my plan. Now I've got a newer engine, stronger, faster. It actually inspired me when that engine came up. I've got to improve this whole section here to just make it run at its full capacity, at its full potential. But it also, now I remember maybe a few episodes ago, I got rid of a truck line that was here, and it's no longer here anymore. This just delivers goods into Fordwich. But I had a problem with getting goods over to Alsager. So I actually put a truck line in a little while ago, and it was running it up the highway, and then it was delivering it into the heart of Alsager here. Now, if we have a look by grabbing a truck stop, yeah, it would just come into like the middle here and drop somewhere around a stop around here. We got trucks around here. Well, it won't be where the buses are, that's for sure. Trucks here. Oh, there you go. It would have come into here and stopped at this one here. Okay. But I deleted the line thinking, look, that I, I've already got trains that are running all these lines. Why don't you just deliver it by train? Why have this extra truck line running long distance? It was kind of a little bit erratic, and guess what? I didn't think about when I deleted it that I was no longer, like, I just assumed that the trains would just pick up that delivery. That's the yeah, I don't know why. I just thought the trains would then just deliver the goods and the construction materials that both came in on those trucks. But what I should have thought of was, no, it seems you would have turned off those things on the train to stop them from delivering that. Now, both of them come up, well, both of them had the potential to come up from here because we're already bringing goods and construction materials up to Kendall. So we're supplying that to Kendall, and it drops off here onto this line here. And then this train picks up some of it. It has the potential to pick up anything. So it can take construction materials and the goods all the way up to Auckland here, which is here. And then it picks up a lot of fuel and a lot of planks coming back. And so, this is the planks are going to, this is our old, planks line from all the way back. Tools and planks. It brings tools up and it brings the planks back. That was its original function. Now, these days it does a lot more than that. But so I have the capacity for this train, which isn't really full when it comes out of here ever, right? Does this ever fill up? Let's have a look. With this new configuration, it's got 120 steel capacity with the six cars, and then all the rest, 200, because there's 10 of them, 200 capacity of goods. And when I say goods, I mean not just goods. I mean, I know it's confusing sometimes, but it's goods, tools, machine parts, and food. Sometimes I refer to that group as goods, or on a goods train, on a goods wagon. And so this has capacity. This 100% has capacity to deliver the, yeah, and what the Conmats construction materials, the Conmats would be able to go with the steel. Okay, all right. And I think that's why I took it off this rail line, because the steel was so bad. Like, there was so much steel there for it to deliver. And that's why I had 4 trains on it, and I still couldn't keep up. And so I took the construction materials and the goods off here because it was just making that line even worse. Well, how do we do this? We go in and see if they've been switched on or off. They have to have been switched off, right? At Alsager Cargo, that's bringing back. We're looking at Kendall. At Kendall, it wants to pick up construction materials and goods. Yes. Okay. Right, so then that would now activate construction materials down here with more. Whoa, look at that. It lost all that demand. Well, I wouldn't say that was a lot. I don't think this one has ever really run at full capacity down here. Close to though. So it has taken a drop. I think it's lost a level, to be honest. But it should now have listed Alsager as a delivery point, and that has not moved to one. Okay, so if that is not actually delivering to Alsager, then it's not the train, it's the truck. Okay, we would have switched it off from the trucks as well, wouldn't we? Let's go show only visible. Yeah, that's what we got. Okay, so we got two lines here. We got parts and tools. And they're jamming up here. Look at this. Why are they not? Mm, this this truck stop is not long enough for these bigger trucks. Could be. It's not the end of the world, you know. It's but yeah, my five platform, 5 sections of platform was enough for the other trucks that I was using, the man trucks. But these Scania are a bit bigger and carry more. Yeah, look at that. They are longer, aren't they? Hmm, maybe just a little longer. You're getting sidetracked here, Sims. We're not rebuilding your truck stop. You know, like you learnt so much from your own truck stop episode. You've definitely learnt that they should be longer than what you like. This is what I started the game with. With very small trucks, I started with 5 section platforms, but probably need to go 6 or 7. Anyway, 2 lines here. Parts and tools. Parts and tools? That's because parts and tools are the primary. Okay, so which one goes with which? How do we work this out? Truck stop again. Okay, tools go with goods. Machine parts go with conmats. Let's do that immediately. You just have to remember one of them, Sims, and then the other one is easy. So you've got to remember tools. Tools are goods. All right, don't forget that. Tools are goods. Tools and goods. Done. Parts and conmats. Can the same truck carry, well, it can definitely do tools and goods. But we need to just double check that these trucks can do conmats and machine parts. Easiest way to do that would be to grab the line and grab the truck and tell it we're going to replace it with another one that can do it just in case it can't. And we're using these. We're using the Scania V8 100 kilometer an hour curtain side platform. Yes, it can carry 52 and it does carry your standard 5. Now, I messed this up back in my truck episode. I think I said standard 6. Your standard 5 deliveries to a town out of the 6 are the 5 that are not fuel, because you need a fuel truck to deliver fuel. So your standard 5 deliveries, working backwards from the right, is goods, food, tools, machine parts, and plastic. Yeah, because most trucks don't carry construction materials into town. So it's construction materials, planks, and steel are normally like stake trucks, flatbed trucks. But these trucks can carry those three as well. So we're good. We're good, right? Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a problem there, Sims. You do have a problem with your trucks not being big enough, but okay. Now, when I looked here a second ago, I noticed something. I noticed in the heart of the city, right, in amongst these buildings, there's one just in the middle there. Is there others? No, I think, well, there's one over here. That I don't like that one. So what I'm going to do is I like to force if my goods, if my demands, my industry or my commercial wanders into each other's territory, I would tend to break them up a little. So if I had a tools all the way out here, I would just go and get rid of it and it will respawn over to here. The other thing that I haven't done for quite a while is to look at weird stuff like these two in the middle here. Look at this. We're going to get rid of that one and this one here. Like, you do not belong here, mate. It's the heart of the city and we have a tools factory. Now there was one around here somewhere. Where was it? Switch it back on again. There you are. You two in here. I don't like you there. Where's the goods? Where's that? Where's that goods hiding? Is that one of these buildings? I thought I saw a goods around here somewhere. Yeah, there's a goods in there somewhere. Your goods. Okay. You're you're the Renaissance Hotel though. How are you goods? Okay. You're goods. All right. I can live with commercial being there. I definitely don't want industrial though, right in the heart of my city. And I would say that these four little baby ones here can go as well. So we're going to go you and you and you and you. The fact that we've got fuel in the middle of the city here is not something that I would change because that's sort of where it spawns in here. I could push it a little. And then if I've got some sort of weird, I got some machine parts all the way up here. That's about the furthest. I can live with that. I can live with some crossover here. That's not too much of a problem. I can even live with this tools all the way up here. As long as they're being covered by the lines, I don't have a problem. Um, okay, well that means we've got now those two should be activated with the trucks. And so now what we want to see is, yeah, look, that was 470 before, 460, 470. It's now 480. That's got to have gone up. It has. It's got 74 demand from Alsager now. And we should have the same with the goods factory over here. Yeah, this one's running only at half, and the one at Kendall has always been running at full. So this is sort of the area's overflow goods factory. That's where it's getting its the plastic is being split 50-50 and it's getting its steel from Kendall. Yeah, yeah, of course it is. But now it's delivering goods to Alsager, 31. Well, that's not all of its goods. So it must be getting some from this goods factory here, which is also not running at full capacity because they're both there's two in this area and we don't really need, well, we need more than one. That's the problem. We've got two, but we don't actually have. There you go. There's the rest of Alsager there. Okay. Hey, guess what? My game saved. Beautiful. It's running a lot smoother. Very happy with it. My saves are working better. Not all the time. Sometimes I forget and like yeah, but it's running so much better. Um, Here is our new train line. And look, it already has a little bit of conmats and that has been brought up on this train here, which is the wagons that I was talking about earlier, and the state cars. This train can carry anything. However, this train cannot, but we can make it work, right? We can. I should make it work. I'm going to finish up the episode here with the ride along. I want to thank you all for watching. You know, do the usual: like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think. Let me know what you think about the signalling and the improvements on the line. I'd really like to hear from you. If there's anything I might have, you know, missed or, you know, could improve. But we've definitely improved the line down to Bordwich, and that line's basically, that whole section has been fixed up now. And the Alsager line has been fully overhauled, simplified, you know, expanded but simplified would be the best way to put it. Yeah, I hope to see you all back next week. I apologise for how long these episodes have been lately. I did mention that, you know, my game time is sort of, yeah, there's an issue there. So I'm doing kind of a longer longer episodes, but maybe fewer of. But I hope you all are well. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.